Outdoors Bound tonight, Virginia has a rich tradition of game bird hunting.
But now one of those game birds is disappearing from the Commonwealth, and hunting has nothing to do with that decline. WFXR's George Noliff has more on how wildlife managers are trying to save a species.
That's a sound you've probably never heard before. That's the sound a male ruffed grouse makes when he wants to let all the lady grouse know that he's single and available. And unfortunately, it's not a sound we're hearing as much in Virginia these days.
So we've really been talking about grouse declines for a better part of 50 to 60 years. So as we came out of that industrial forest logging period, there were a lot of grouse at that time period. And as you know, more and more land was conserved and became forest land, those trees became a little older, we started to see that gradual decline.
This is a story about unintended consequences.
This is the typical of an area you would find ruffed grouse in.
We've done such a good job of conserving old growth forest that new growth, which is what the grouse need at certain times of the year, is in short supply. Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources biologist Michael Dye knows a lot about ruffed grouse, and he says they need diverse habitat, like the kind he showed me in Roanoke County.
You know, we have a lot of young yellow poplar trees here. You know, there are a few scattered hemlocks in there. There's a lot of blackberry. So there's a lot of forage for them. There's a lot of food for insects, you know, through the summer months. So, you know, really those young grouse can have a lot of forage and a lot of, you know, extra protein through those insects.
That new growth forest and the surrounding grass, shrubs, and bushes also provide grouse chicks a place to hide when they're most vulnerable.
Those chicks can't move very far. You know, if they're little tiny, you know, we're talking a couple ounce each. And if they're moving through heavy leaf litter, heavy vegetation, it's very difficult for them to move. So if a predator happens upon them at that time, they're very easy to pick off.
So what's the solution? It's going to take specialized forest management, and that requires an almost surgical approach to create young forest close to old forest.
Small cuts coming in and managing the forest, providing a little bit more forage, providing a little bit more opportunity. If we can do a lot more habitat work and really get things you know, progressing in a positive direction, I think they have a pretty good chance. I don't know that we will lose grouse in the next decade or 2 decades, but we're going to be very close if we don't start taking some action now.
Our region still has fair grouse numbers. The birds do better at higher elevations, so they have a fighting chance here in the Blue Ridge.
George, big question tonight. Is there anything that we can do to help grouse?
Absolutely. The VDWR has advice, expertise, and they're willing to share it with you. So call your local VDWR office. They'll get somebody on the case, talk to you about what you can do with your forest land, your yard, any property you own, to make it more grouse friendly as well as wildlife friendly.
Some interesting information.
Thank you, George.
John?